Welcome back to this week's edition of the Torah Podcast. This week's Parsha is Parshas Bo. We learn in this week's Parsha and the previous Parshas, and, God willing, next week and the week after that, about the beginning of our nation. The transformation from a family of Jacob into a massive, thriving nation. A nation of Jews. As we leave Eretz Mitzrayim, we learn, and this is all brought down in the Ramban in Sof Parshas Bo, the Ramban at the end of this week's Parsha, about the foundations of our belief. What a Jew must believe to be part of the Jewish nation. About how HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God created the world, how Hashem brought us out within a strong hand, a mighty hand, made a statement. He toyed with the Egyptians to show that Hashem is in charge, and Hashem runs the world. There's a concept in philosophy, but also a concept brought down by the earlier rabbis called V'yodata hayoim v'hashevoisa el levavecha. We say it in Aleinu every single day, hopefully after Shacharis and after Mariv. A person should know today, V'yodata hayom v'hashevosa el levavecha, and then he should try to return it or place it into his heart. That means to say that a lot of times we know things subconsciously or even consciously, but our actions do not display or portray what we know. So there's a difference, because it's possible to know something in your head, but in order for it to change your actions, you have to know it in your heart. And the goal of the learning of Musar and self-perfection is to try to get these thoughts, which we know to be true, into our hearts to change ourselves. Rabbi Yerucham brings two eitzas for how to do this. I know I want to be a better person, so why am I not doing it? I understand that Hashem runs the world, so why do I sin and go against His will? In order to work on the V'yodata hayoim v'hashevoisa el levavecha, says Rabbi Yerucham, he's mechadesh, that your heart has a opening, has a doorway. And just like when you try to, I guess it can be I can give a personal example where I live in a basement apartment and we wanted to move a couch into our basement apartment. Although the couch fit into our house, it did not fit into the doorway. But if it does not fit into the doorway, it technically does not fit into the house, because it must first go through the doorway. So Rabbi Yerucham says we try sometimes to put these big concepts into us, but it first has to get through the doorway. What a person needs to do is he has to dice up this idea, chop up what he knows, and put it in piece by piece, in bite-sized pieces. Instead of trying to ingest a massive idea of the God runs the world, try to dice it up. First, dwell upon the fact that Hashem created the world, and look at the Ani Mamims at the beginning of the Rambam's 13 things that a person has to know. Look at the first one and dwell upon it. Chop it up into bite-sized pieces and put it in piece by piece, instead of trying to stuff it all in. A second eitzah Rabbi Yerucham gives is, just like there's food for the body, there's also food for the soul. The food for the soul is obviously our davening, our mitzvahs, our Torah. And just like you cannot go and eat a raw piece of chicken or just nibble on a wheat stalk, you first have to prepare it to be eaten. So too, proper Torah, tefillah, has to be prepared for ingestion. It has to be prepared to be eaten. A person, if he wants to put this idea into his heart, should prepare the idea. He should understand exactly what every word is, exactly what it is that he has to do, and then slowly, and then he can employ the first idea, which is to put it in piece by piece, but it has to be prepared properly. So two different ideas, how we can properly understand what's going on in this week's parsha. All the different miracles that we see, and all of the nisim geluyim, the fully exposed miracles for all to see, that should technically inspire us, we have to eat them, so to speak, in the proper way. We have to prepare them in the proper way. Understand the ins and outs of what actually happened through all of the Torah's commentary, starting with the English translation and with Rashi's understanding. Dice it up really small, and then put it through the doorway of your heart, and keep putting it in drop by drop. With this eitzah, we should all be zoicha to a vayadata hayoim v'hashevoisa el levavecha. A Morid Shabbos.